Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this, what is it, that 12th day? Yeah, 2 days for Valentine's Day, which will be Friday. I'm going to work late. Drive Uber, try to hustle up some money from you couples out there. Excuse me, folks. Yeah. Turn the air on when I put this jacket on, even though it's wintertime. And sometimes a little dust comes through there. All right. Got a great show with you for tonight. Jeffrey Deskovic will be back on the program 30 minutes into the hour. Going to ask him about the Super Bowl, get his take on Luka Doncic so far, maybe get an Aaron Rodgers question in there. What's he think about that? And, you know something, what does the Jets do after this? You know, I mean, they've got some options there with Kirk Cousins. Obviously, it would be kind of crazy bringing back a Sam Darnold. But, you know, you just never know. Maybe they trade up with Tennessee. So, I don't know. I'll ask him about that. So anyways, let's take our first only break. I'll be back here momentarily. Going to touch on, by the way, going to touch on that. I'm going to go dive into it. Not dive into that sexual assault lawsuit there from Fox. There's been two of them now. There's been two of them. I know this is an old story, about a month old, but really another suit was filed last week. Response from lawyers have also happened last week. The Super Bowl kind of overshadowed all that and everything. So I'll divvy a little bit into that as well. So stand by. Let's take our first and only break, and we will hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
All righty then. Okay, so let me go into this Fox Sports thing. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. In case you didn't know, I know it's an older story. It came out last month. Essentially, and I'm going to go back to my notes here in a minute, but essentially a makeup artist filed a sexual harassment lawsuit from Fox Sports. She included wild allegations of pretty serious allegations against Skip Bayless, offering her $1.5 million for sex. former Fox personality there. She said that she had some allegations involving Joey Taylor. She's an on-air personality there. Okay. I'll get into the details there. But she also claimed that this Jamie Dixon there, this guy's and basically vice president of content with Fox Sports, the vice president of content for Fox Sports. And then I want to say last week, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at my notes here. Last week, another lawsuit was filed against Jamie Dixon because this story was in The Athletic, and I want to say it was January 31st. I mean, that was a couple weeks ago, actually. 2 weeks ago. This Julie Stewart Binks, she was a former reporter for Fox Sports. She filed a lawsuit too. So you're not going to hear a lot of this from Fox people. And you're really not going to hear a lot of this from ESPN people as well. Okay. So this is, I forgot my water. Hold on, folks. Let me do one more quick break, and I will get my water, and we'll be back here shortly. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program. All righty then. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is a big thing here. Let me go back to my notes here because this is from the original here. This is from The Athletic. This is part of the lawyers for Joey Taylor, the lawyers for Fox, the lawyers for Skip Bayless individually. Here's some more information. The lawsuit was filed in Superior Court of California in Los Angeles County against Fox Sports Skip Bayless, Joey Taylor, executive president, Charlie Dixon. She accused Taylor of creating a hostile work environment. This is a makeup artist here. Through discrimination on basis of race, national origin, and disability, and said Skip Bayless, the former co-host of Undisputed, propositioned her for multiple times, including offering her $1.5 million for sex. That sounds crazy, but she also accused him of verbal harassment, inappropriate physical response as well. So Bayless' attorney on Tuesday, and I think this was this week, said Faraja, that's this lady's name here, consented by words or conduct to the conduct alleged. It was argued that Farage was not entitled to recover damage to the extent of any purported emotional distress or pain and suffering damages allegedly suffered by the plaintiff caused by any pre-existing psychological medical condition. But Bayless' attorney did not respond to comment. So basically, Taylor's response was, this woman was not qualified as a person with a disability or defined relevant for law, nor regarded as a person with a disability. I think she said something about PTSD in this per se. In this January lawsuit, Taylor mocking her English and complaining about her humming with the plaintiff. A spokesman on behalf of Taylor told The Athletic, Farage, including Taylor, in the complaint was an attempt to leverage media attention and public perception. Attorneys for Fox, their response, also denied the allegations. They wrote Fox Sports exercised reasonable care to prevent and correct any unlawful harassment or retaliatory workplace conduct allegedly experienced by the plaintiff, including implementing clear procedures to report any instance, harassment, or retaliatory conduct. Plaintiff unreasonably failed to take advantage of any preventative or corrective opportunities provided by the defendants or to avoid them otherwise in plaintiff's claims. So this is on February 3rd. The sources told The Athletic, Katie Strong and Andrew Marchant Dixon, that's this president here, this has been placed on administrative leave in a separate complaint from the Julie Stewart Binks. Alleged Dixon asked her to come to his hotel room following a work meeting and pushed her against the wall and pinned her arms and forcibly kissed her in January 2016. So that doesn't look good for this guy, because you got two complaints here with this Jamie Dixon, this president. And also I wanted to note here on this, I wanted to note here, Joy Taylor mentioned in the lawsuit with Dixon that she had an affair with Emmanuel Acho, who is on another show. I think it's Speak for Yourself. I think it is. I'm not sure. To get that job as well. So she supposedly had sex for advance with this Jamie Dixon, and it's all in this complicated lawsuit. I didn't even read all the details of that with this makeup artist per se. I'll say this about Taylor. And also Marcellus Wiley, who is now not even part of Fox Sports. He does a YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel like myself and whatnot. He said that he had heard rumors that Acho and Taylor were having some type of affair. Let me say this about her. First of all, let me just say this. For those of you who don't know me, I've got a communications degree, minor in journalism, Austin Peay up here. That's how I met Carlos, and that's how I met Coach Carroll here, Kevin Carroll. And my junior year, at the end of my junior year, coming into my senior year, I did an internship at ABC affiliate here out of Nashville. And I'll say this. Lot of very attractive women, not just anchors and reporters, but also producers, associate producers. Just my opinion. Not all of them, not painting broad brushes. I don't want anybody getting mad at me, but a lot of them, I could the way they dressed in that workplace. And we're talking 2005, not 1975. We've all seen the movie. A lot of us have. Anchorman, This is, 2005, going into 2006, summer 2005. I'll just put it this way. I could tell some of these women around here, I don't even remember their names, so I ain't getting anybody in trouble. But my opinion, I felt like they probably got their job because of the way they dress. I didn't see a work ethic there whatsoever. And I can it was the beginning of the end of me. Even though I took a job as a news reporter right out of college, I busted my rear end for 4 years. But you could kind of see that it really did live up to that environment, per se, the media environment. It's not all the way over the top, but you could see in certain situations, we know about the Matt Lauer being fired from NBC, where you've got, I just think that, I looked at that general matter and I thought to myself, well, I could see how some of these women got this job. She got her job. And, I had one producer when I was interning, this woman was dogging out the weather lady, or it was either one of the news ladies and the weather lady. So jealous and so unprofessional, cursing like crazy. But I could just see some of the way the dressing was, the flirtation going on there. It really was a kind of a turn off per se. It wasn't like, hey, this is cool. It was kind of like, because you could see certain people in the news office, but like me, I was busting my rear. As an intern, I was answering phones and getting stories in that I worked on that made the news, gathering information from the police department. I was in there working all the time, and I think I made people feel uncomfortable because I'm in there working hard, And but you can kind of see that Anchorman-like environment, not as bad as the 70s, but that was in 2005. So this stuff seemed over the top when you first read it. And if you just listen to Joy Taylor, going back to Joy Taylor with Fox Sports, who, by the way, she's the younger sister of NFL Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. And so she kind of got a leg in that way. I know her whole story. Jason Taylor, he's played with Miami Dolphins and whatnot. And this woman's like 15 years younger than Taylor. She's like 35 or something like that. Maybe 35, 36. And she got an internship with my man Sid Rosenberg, guy I like. Used to work with Don Imus up in New York City. He got fired multiple times. I think it was mainly part of that, the women's basketball comments about the women's basketball team for New Jersey, and I can't remember the name of it. Makes no never mind. It was a big controversy back in 2007. So this guy gets fired from New York, gets put back here. Pretty well known around Miami. He made his way back to New York, by the way, but that's a separate story. But he gives Joy Taylor a start because Jason Taylor asked him for a favor. She kind of gets on the fast track there. A few years later, now she's, she goes on to work with Fox Sports. She's kind of like the news lady / co-host with Colin Cowherd. And she took over for Christine Leahy. And, I've talked to my friends. I've listened to Cowherd every day for probably 15 years now. And this guy show fell off with that sexual tension like that. He was very hesitant on some of his takes. She was dressing. She would, come off at this lady. She talks about growing up in the church and whatnot, talking about Joy Taylor, but then she'll wear low-cut blouses. She'll overplay the race card. No, but she don't even look black. When she was with Colin Cowherd, because he's a white guy, she would make her look like a white lady with dark hair. She kind of favored Elaine Bennis from the show Seinfeld, and now she looks more black, so she puts more makeup on her, make her look more mixed race. She's mixed race, but she seemed like a cool person at first, and then you start to listen to her, and then you could tell she leverages the woman card and the race card for her own advantage, and the sexual appearance card, and you could see it on some of the shows there. There's one cut there, and I should have got a cut of that, but I couldn't find it, or I would have. Colin's making a breast remark when he was talking about cities. City rhymes with another word, but the TI for city. Well, he slipped up. Did you see how in front of her? Major distraction. And so my point is, I think that I think that she's a lot more conniving, in my opinion, than she appears to be, per se. I don't know if any of these allegations are true, that she slept with the boss to get that job and then she slept with a guy to get a particular show. I don't know if any of that stuff to be true, but she's involved in that lawsuit. And my point is that a lot of that stuff, though, is going on. Listen, and I also know that maybe there could be opportunists and some jealousy there from this woman, that maybe she felt like she could have had Joy's. I don't know. But I do know one thing, that Fox Sports has probably got to do a whole overhaul of how that they handle this stuff. Because it's been in the news for over 6 weeks. You're having, quotes from lawyers. You're having people on administrative leaves. And these are one of them was, like I said, this other woman, she was a former personality Julie Stewart Binks was a reporter on here. So it's a pretty big story here. And the fact that Marcellus Wiley said what he said, of the rumors he said about Taylor, there's got to be something there. There's something there. But it kind of goes to show you that when you see people on a job, certain TV, and this is really big into the political reporters and whatnot, you see a lot of nepotism. You see a lot of this guy's married to this woman married to this guy who got her this job. And for those of us, the rest of us that had to work their rear ends off and went born on third base, we can kind of forgive ourselves for not being where we want to be because of what we're competing against. And I had Jenny Paul on here. I thought I had her book up here. I think I got it back on my coffee table. And she said that particular reason why her gay Paul did not want to give her interviews and whatnot. So she's using her dad's connections because she did not want to have this thrown up to her all of her life. This is the woman that I've had on the program that was the former, her dad was a former general manager of the Yankees in 77, one with Reggie Jackson, and also part owner, had some part ownership in there. But anyways, so it's an interesting story. That's my thoughts on it. Like I said, from personal experience, I kind of see that going on. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it seems to happen a lot in the media space. I think more guys, though, particularly in management situations.
Not normal. So it's been a very unprecedented.
Sorry about that, folks. In management situations, you really have to watch what you say and record stuff, try to get stuff on email to protect your own, because maybe this woman is an opportunity. Maybe this other woman's an opportunity. We don't know. But I do think that if you're taking a job in one of these places, and I would tell my niece this, my mom this, my mom would know, but she would never do it. But don't dress a certain way if you don't want certain comments and looks, okay? As far as showing Cleveland, and I'm not saying you have to go over the top with it and cover everything up, but don't try to do one thing and expect another. Goes back to the Rupert Murdoch stuff with Fox, Fox News outlet and everything. And say, oh, you should be able to address it. Yeah, that's true. But if it's my daughter, if it's my sister, I'm going to tell you what that says, okay? And if you get certain kind of looks you don't want to get, where you feel like somebody's being creepy, then you probably shouldn't go over the top with it, It's a free country, do what you want to, but you're going to expect other type of situations, and women know that for the most part. But women do that. I'm not blaming any victim here, But don't try to act like if you're doing something, dressing a certain way, and I think some people do dress a certain way to get what they want, and try to play it off like they do not dress a certain way to get what they want. Okay, we're not stupid. All right. And you're almost damned if you say something about it. But this is real talk here. All right. Ohio State, I was looking at this thing. Matt Patricia is taking over at Ohio State as the defensive coordinator. I'll tell you what. Have they turned into like a semi-pro team?
Stand by, folks.
Sorry about that. I clicked that off there. I was really amazed at how many, Mike Vrabel was once a coordinator there. And now you got Chip Kelly, by the way, who's now the offensive coordinator. Who's now the offensive coordinator with the Raiders. This is Chip Kelly's second stint in the NFL. But remember, he was a offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Okay. And now you've got former Patriots defensive coordinator and Lions coach, and that was terrible, but it was Lions coach. Now he's a defensive Pat Patricia with Ohio State. And, you know, you look at all the NIL money they spent, it's like they're like a semi-pro team, you know. It's fascinating. It's where that program has came over the last few years. They've always been good. Not to say it, you know, my earliest memories watching college football. I remember when Eddie George got I've been watching college football since probably Rashawn Salam in 93 got was it 92 or 93 from Colorado, got the Heisman Trophy there. And then you got Charlie Ward there winning the national championship with Florida State. So, but I just think that, you know, you've got a lot of pro guys going to college for 1 year and then coming back to the pros there and vice versa. But we'll see how it plays out for them. I noticed they've lost their offensive coordinator. I'm not sure who their coordinator is now. Maybe Hartline, I want to say, for Ohio State. And, of course, they got Matt Patricia as their defensive guy. I thought that was pretty interesting story there. Jeff Defskett will be on here in just a few minutes here. And Titans, we were talking about John Robertson the other day. Former Titans general manager John Robertson, Jordan Schultz says he will become the Jaguars general manager. Remember, Trent Baalke got fired because nobody wanted to work with Trent Baalke. Now, I kind of like seeing guys bounce back. But, man, I tell you what, here at the end, I mean, he made some very good moves here. Tennessee got to the AFC Championship game back in 2019, 2020. And then 2021 got the number one seed only to get beat by that Cincinnati Bengal team. But anyways, but what happened with him is he went rogue. He didn't tell Mike Vrabel. He was trading A.J. Brown. He traded him for a first and a third. And both of those guys look like total busts for Trayvon Burks, who's not done nothing but been hurt and looks like he's overweight all the time. And I just read today that Turin Davenport, the guy for writes for Tennessee Titans with ESPN, said that they needed the third-round pick that they got in that trade, Nicholas Petit-Farid, out of Ohio State, ironically. That guy, they're going to have to replace him. That he's been terrible at right tackle, so Tennessee needs a right tackle here. So I don't know what the situation is there. Also in news, the Bengals defensive captain, leading tackler, Jermaine Pratt has requested a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals here. Go figure. You know, they've got Al Golden now as their defensive coordinator, using Lou Anarumo who looked like an all-world defensive guy just a few years ago when they got to the Super Bowl. And now their leading tackler wants out there. So then you hear Joe Burrow, by the way, make hints that he does not. He wants T. Higgins and his guys, I think it's Trey Henderson, the edge rusher there, to get re-signed. So he's kind of throwing dabs at, he's saying, well, I'll go ahead and restructure and whatnot. As I said before, he's already signed this second contract. He has been hurt in the past. I wouldn't sit out. I wouldn't pull a Deshaun Watson and say I'm never going to play another down for him. But I'd play this contract out. He's going to be, 31, 32, going on contract 3. I would take care of myself. I wouldn't put my knees in any harm that I could potentially prevent for Cincinnati, and I just wouldn't sign back with them, not unless they sell the team. I mean, that's just what I say. Maybe they get lucky in the draft, and Al Golden makes a lot out of this, but it just seems like that way with Cincinnati right now, you know? Hey, Lindsay, thanks for the heart there, my friend. That's my niece there. Let's see. Josina Anderson says, I'm told the Jaguars have formally expressed interest in the general manager vacancy. She says, follow up from yesterday, I'm told former interview with Jaguars is planned to occur Thursday or Friday. Interesting. But anyways, wanted to get this guy's take. Reached out there, Jeffrey Deskovic. He's backstage, but he's not quite connected yet. Oh, no, there he is. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get the crowd ready here, and let me change up my banners here. Put Jeffrey's logo there, and let's see if I can get the crowd into it. Jeffrey's always got good opinions here. Hey, man. Hey, Jeffrey, what's going on, buddy?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Oh, pretty good here. I was just talking, going over news and notes from football and everything. By the way, Aaron Rodgers basically got an ultimatum. Says you can't go on the Pat McAfee show, and you got to show up to mandatory mini camps during the season.
You can't go on the program, which they always like that, and they think it's funny.
What do you think about that, man? Aaron Glenn basically said, "Hey, man, we need you focused during the season, or we don't want to do this." And apparently, he's going to be released. Was that a good move? Just looking at that.
I think that it was. I mean, for whatever reason, I mean, it surprised the heck out of me. I mean, I thought it was a Super Bowl caliber move, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out this year either. You can't exactly write it off to the injury aspect of it, but. Yeah, I think they should have moved on from him. Do you think he's – I mean, the only way you don't think that, the only way you run it back is if you think he's going to play better next season. Yeah. I don't believe for 1 minute that he's going to play better next season. Do you think he's going to play better next season?
But I think he may have said that on purpose because you look at Aaron Glenn, no head coaching experience. He's from a defensive background. Probably wouldn't gel well with Rodgers. That's what I'm thinking. Rodgers is just trying to get out of there, per se. It's not a bad team up there in New York, man. I mean, you could see they've got left tackle. They've got defense there. They've got two players they throw the ball to. It seems like everything is intact there, except for the defense fell off when they fired Saleh. It was a slow maturation of chemistry there with Rodgers and those players. Plus, he's getting to be older now. So I don't know if the Jets go after a Sam Darnold back or maybe a Kirk Cousins, or maybe they try to draft somebody. What do you think they are to do, man? I think they sit in the top 10 in the draft.
I think they should sign. I think they should get a veteran quarterback that they could win with now, while simultaneously drafting somebody for the future. I don't believe. Well, as of when I checked last, Christ, now his name is leaving. The guy he won the Super Bowl with the the Ram. He left the Lions.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean he
might be a free agent too, by the way, Jeff.
Yeah, he wants an extension. They haven't given it to him so far. I mean, there's speculation that he may leave. I mean, I think that he's somebody that could play. He's somebody that could play well, and at the same time, they they develop a quarterback. He could mentor them as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's it. They don't have a bad squad there. Well, that is, as the world turns, to be continued. Hey, so what do you think about this Super Bowl, man? That was pretty interesting. A little different than what a lot of us expected.
Yeah, it was not. I want to say is a shocker, except that it's not so much a shocker as to the result. I mean, it is, but honestly, Rob, it wasn't a competitive game at all.
No.
That was that, at one point it was 34-0. I mean, that's extremely one-sided. It's shocking that happened. I don't think that the Eagles are, even if you want to count the window dressing scoring in there, I don't think the Eagles are like 22 points better than the Chiefs. I mean, I'm mystified. I mean, it was just complete domination by the linebackers, the defensive line and the Eagles, but even so, I mean, I did not. That's crazy though.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, I thought the Eagles team was not as good as the Eagle team that they had a couple years prior to that. When they lost the game, they really outplayed the Chiefs They came up like, 3 points short, but I felt their squad wasn't as good. You feel like the squad was as good?
Well, defensively, they got a really sharp. I mean, these guys dress sharp like me and you. They pick sharp, and I'm talking about that front office up there with this Eagles team. They made a trade a couple years ago in the draft in April with the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints wanted to trade up, so they get the Saints pick, and the Saints fall off. The Saints have been over the cap for years. They've had an older team. They've had a lot of guys get injured, and they refuse, being that general manager down there, to bust that team up and start over and get their caps situated. And in hindsight, the Eagles go to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they end up getting like a top 10 pick because the Saints were so bad. They had the Saints first round pick. So they got Jalen Carter, who is just an all-world defensive tackle out of Georgia. And he looks kind of like an Aaron Donald type of guy. I mean, he is just a ferocious defensive tackle. And then you've got some other Georgia players that they've picked up. They picked up the 2 best. I don't know how they do it, but they do it every year. Just about. They got the 2 best cornerbacks in this past year's draft. So I do think defensively they are better, and they're better coached. They're coached by 60-something-year-old former Denver Broncos defensive coordinator there, who's been around for a long time, much better than Jonathan Gannon, who, remember, if you recall 2 years ago, they couldn't get a stop in the second half against the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, this time it was totally different. The Chiefs have been cutting corners on replacing their left tackle, and it's all come to fruition. You know what this kind of reminded me of? I'm sure you're football. This reminded me of that 2002 somewhat Tampa Bay Bucks Raiders game where you had this really fast defense against this older team that was a really good offense, but they had some holes on their offensive line. But Gannon had such a quick release, and it just all come together for Super Bowl night. I think they were up 31-3 at one time in that Super Bowl, going back over 20 years, Jeffrey, if you remember that.
I do. I do. I do remember that. We were joking. It was the Raiders against the Pirates, right? I mean, it was a similar team. Yeah, I do. But listen,
wasn't they?
Yes, yeah. But John Gruden, of course, coaching Tampa Bay, had been, had just come over to Tampa Bay that year. He had previously coached the Raiders, and the Raider head coach Callahan, tried to run the same offense against the coach that installed it, and that was what the end result of it was. But look, people bashing Mahomes. Look, if you don't have any time to throw, okay, it's really not. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't speak to him as a passer or his ability to make things happen with his legs. Got the 2-dimensional thing. I mean, as great as he's been, if he doesn't have anybody, but that's the other thing is that. Not only did he not have any pass protection, but he couldn't outrun the Eagle defenders. They were able to contain him and keep him in the box. They were just as fast. Honestly, that not only were they just as fast as him, I felt to some extent they were faster than he was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this defense was really good. They played up to, something. I think they're so good. And I said this on this program before, that I think they got bored during the season because they would give up late leads. They would be up by like 30 points in some games. And you're looking up and it's a 14-point game. And I was telling people, I said, I think these guys are so good up front. They've got a really good secondary. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson led the league just 2 years ago in interceptions at 7. They got him back at safety. I mean, they're just loaded everywhere, And they kind of got lackadaisical. But when they focused, you saw how they played the Ravens this year. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson has like 1 or 2 losses against the NFC. And that tells you how good that defense was. They kept Lamar Jackson in check, and that was in Baltimore. So I knew they had it, but, before I picked Kansas City to win this game because I've gotten beat by Kansas. I picked Philadelphia to win 2 years ago, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You too?
yeah. Same thing. Exactly. I picked the Eagles to win a couple years ago, and I picked Kansas City to win. This.
They keep letting you down. Just take them till they beat you, and then finally somebody, they humble Kansas. And I'm like you. I mean, as soon as a guy was snapping the ball, that there's 2 or 3 defense. It was like a jailbreak. There are 2 or 3 defensive linemen in the backfield at sometimes, and just the whole wall was collapsing. Man, really got to take your hat. And I said yesterday on the program, general managers, that's their dream when they draft a guy early in the first round, a defensive tackle or a defensive end. They want him to be like Lawrence Taylor or Aaron Donald or Warren Sapp, where your snap Reggie White, where the defense is in the backfield at the snap of the football. That is what every general manager's dream is. Right there. And that all come to fruition on Sunday night. And man, I tell you, got to tip your hat to them,
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I feel like in some ways, the Eagles kind of gave the blueprint to the Buffalo Bills and to other teams that are, nipping at Kansas City's heels in terms of talent. Baltimore and Cincinnati. I mean, if you got to have 4 fast people up front.
This pump up your line, huh?
If you can get fast people up front so that he can't beat you by his legs. You can't have it once you get through, then he's taking off and going the other way right past you, and you're standing still. That's what the challenge. I mean, Buffalo had them beat a number of times in a number of years. I still remember that when Josh Allen takes the field and they score, and then
13 seconds,
and then Mahomes gets in scored. Then he goes back out there again with like a minute and brings them, and even then with 30 seconds left.
That was a great game, wasn't it?
No, it really was. But Buffalo should have won. That's the main thing.
If you're Buffalo, would you go after Myles Garrett, who has requested a trade from the Bengals or from Cleveland?
I would. I mean, I think that they need to beef their defense up a little bit more. Again, the linebackers and the defensive linemen, but they need. They're a team. They're built to win now. So they need to do that with veterans rather than drafting and developing.
Yeah, man. I tell you, and like you said, I think he'll bounce back. Mahomes will. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. When was he drafted? In 2017? He's been in the league, 8-9 years? I mean, he's still on a great run,
He's still on a great run. He's got a lot of years, left in him. I mean, the fact that you appeared in 5 Super Bowls is unheard. How many quarterbacks make 1 appearance in the Super Bowl?
Right.
Or even none at all.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's been there 5 times, He's 3-2. But look, I mean, even Tom Brady, right? He got to 10 Super Bowls. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't go 10-0. Okay, he's 7-3.
Yeah.
So,
but that's still unbelievable.
Listen, I think that there's still. I think with that core group they have, there's a definite threat. They got to be considered to be the AFC favorite to go back to the Super Bowl, represent the AFC. This year coming up. But they still got a lot of football left in that core group.
Yeah. I think Kelsey's getting old, but you still, as long as Mahomes is going to be 29, I think. So 29, maybe 30 years old. I mean, you get some help around him, maybe another tight end or something in the draft. He'll have Rashid Rice back next year. I think they'll be all right, man. Let me ask you about Tom Brady. I thought he was subpar calling the game. I don't know if you even caught on to any of that, Jeffrey, but I just think that I would prefer Fox to have put in Joe Buck and who's the other guy? And Troy Aikman on that game. I mean, why would you put a rookie? I know he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but why would you put a rookie broadcaster in the Super Bowl, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't think his analysis was all that good. I mean, Troy Aikman is still several cuts above him, so I don't really care for his commentary. And the play-by-play guy wasn't that good either. I think I might have enjoyed listening, say, maybe Kevin Harlan and who's a good color commentator. Al Michaels.
Al Michaels has been great. Yeah.
To, Kevin Harlan
or
and
Joe Buck, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody like that. But I mean, the play-by-play
first
guy
year
really
though,
was,
Jeffrey. I mean, geez,
yeah,
why would Fox do that?
I think that they thought he's got perspective because he's been in 10 Super Bowls as a player.
Yeah.
But really, the only player that I feel is a really good commentator that was able to make the transition was Boomer Esiason. I would have preferred Boomer Esiason in there.
Yeah, I like Boomer. I like Phil Simms.
Yeah, Phil has some insights.
I
sure.
think Brady will get better. I just thought, man, it's his first year, man.
Yeah, they kind of threw him out in the deep end there. I feel like he was kind of in over his head. I would have to give him maybe a C-.
Same here, brother.
But speaking of C-minuses, before we sign off here.
No, we got some time,
okay,
not unless you're in a hurry.
I feel like Andy Reid made no adjustments at all whatsoever. Wow. So that was a disappointment to me. Like he didn't make any adjustments. I mean, I've seen Super Bowls. I remember when New England was losing and Belichick against the Eagles, actually, and Belichick, not the Super Bowl they lost, but the Super Bowl that they won against them. And Belichick made adjustments, and he went to shotgun, and at times he put in jumbo packages, extra protection. Knowing you have to give the quarterback time. I mean, where was Andy Reid's adjustments?
That's true. Something I thought about that. I think that if as good as Mahomes is, he's got to work on his short game. Quick.
Yeah, the short passes would have been nice. Yeah. I could see a short screen throw to the running back.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so good at rolling out, though.
Running out routes. I could have saw some of that. I mean, a short dump off to the running back just over the defender. That could have worked, but that's the other thing is, they became one-dimensional as well. They really didn't run the ball. Very, very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this basketball stuff.
Yeah.
Since the last time we talked, that Mark Williams was traded to the Lakers because to replace Anthony Davis. That got rescinded by the by the Lakers
By the
because
Lakers. I
of
think he failed. Think he failed the physical, didn't he?
physical.
Fail the physical?
Do you? And now the Hornets are trying to get him to take it anyways. Do you think Adam Silver will step in, or how do you think this thing's going to play out?
Well, I believe I read he doesn't want to go back to the team that traded him, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, he's going to have to be. Somebody's going to pick him up. They're going to have to trade him to somebody. I mean, honestly, what I think that it is, I think that obviously significantly lowers his trade value. But I mean, I guess it comes down to do you believe he can get himself back to health enough to play and be effective? I mean, do you think his career is over based on the injuries? Are we talking Greg Oden? I'm going to date myself now.
It could
Rob.
be.
Are we talking Sam Bowie?
Sam
here?
Bowie, 83. Was it 83 when Jordan was drafted?
I believe so. Yeah, but he kept getting hurt with his legs.
Or
and
84. I can't remember now.
Something like right. But right. I think it was 84. Now that you mentioned it, but he kept getting hurt and he couldn't get back to. In general, I believe in betting on players. I generally believe that players, are going to be able to rehab. They're going to be able to get healthy.
Right.
That they're gonna bounce back and they're gonna have some level of productivity. I don't think that generally they're not. So,
do you think Alex Lynn is going to be enough? They picked up Alex Lynn now.
They did. I saw they picked up. He's a 7-footer. He's playing from overseas. I feel like overseas that the players are they emphasize skill more rather than playing on physicality or just simply athleticism. I mean, let's look what he's going to be asked to do. Right? He's going to be asked to catch some alley-oops for dunks. He's going to be asked to defend. He's going to be asked to get some rebounds to protect the rim. I mean, he's got LeBron and Doncic around him. He's obviously not going to be asked to score very much. Whatever you get from him on that will be extra. Just as long as he's not going to pull a Ben Simmons and refuse to shoot at all, even when open.
I've never seen nothing like that.
That was
it'd be like 2 feet from the basket and won't shoot.
Yeah, that was wild and right. And the thing too is like he wouldn't make adjustments from game to game. He had to have heard the criticisms on TNT. I mean, his coaching, his coaches, not just the head coach, but his other, his coaches. I mean, they had to know it was a problem with him shooting. I mean, Doc didn't say anything to him. Why are you not willing to shoot? That doesn't make any. I mean, is your confidence level that low that you're not willing to shoot? I mean, honestly, it would have been better for the team. It would have been better for the team. I mean, had he shot the ball and missed, it would have actually been better than unless he just not shoot it, that he not shoot at all.
Yeah, he's something. He ended up signing with the Clippers. What do you think about? Will that put the Lakers over the top? Picking up Alex Lynn. I know he didn't get when I did see Lynn play, he don't get a lot of minutes no matter where he goes. He's effective, but it seems like he wears down or something.
Yeah, I don't think he's a player that puts them over the top, but I do think that he fills a hole. I mean, they needed a big body that's serviceable that can give them some production. If he can give them 6 to 8 points a game and maybe come up with like 6 rebounds. I mean, you should almost get 5 or 6 rebounds, at least 4 by accident, right? Just by virtue of being tall like that. I mean, those aren't earth-shattering numbers. But I think it's a nice pickup for them. I still don't. I mean, look, a lot of basketball to be seen, but as of right now, I don't think they have enough to do a deep playoff run. I mean, I would be somewhat surprised if they got out of the second round. So I don't think they have enough to do a deep playoff run, but I do think that they'll make the playoffs, and they could potentially be scary to see in the first round.
That's a good point. Now, the other side of it, Anthony Davis has got an ab strain Go figure.
Look at that. Look at that. The fragile man gets hurt again in his new team, like almost immediately. Gee, what a surprise.
Does Nico Hart, did this guy make it, this general manager, to next season? Or you already starting to see the fan revolt?
Come next season, come the beginning of next season, I don't expect him to still be there. I think the only way that happens is if the Mavs get back to the finals. I mean, I guess that saves his job. But
same here.
Yeah,
this is really tumbling, and it's getting worse by the day. Mark Cuban supposedly tried to stop this.
I read that too.
Yeah. Does Mark Cuban make an attempt to buy the team back, Jeffrey?
Well, I think not, because it's too late.
He might not have the money.
No, I don't mean he don't have the money. No.
Well, he may have it invested in something.
What I'm saying is that, first of all, I don't know that they're would want to sell it back to him right away like that. That's number one. Right. And number two, the damage is done. I mean, Luka's already gone. I mean, does he want to buy them back to trade for Luka again? But do you really think the Lakers are gonna say, okay, we'll trade you Luka back? I mean, I don't. Maybe that might make sense in, if there's a with his how many years does Luka have before
26.
He's up
in the summer. He's eligible next year, but he's up in the summer of 20. So that's one more year,
Well, maybe it makes sense for him to buy back. I mean, not immediately, but maybe it makes sense to try to buy back in time to try to lure him back. I mean, then there's a specter.
Well, that would be wild, wouldn't it?
That really would be. That really would be.
That's like something off of a movie, man. But he's crazy like that. Mark Cuban, I just think that maybe he might try something like that. There was a guy that bought back Barstool that did similar. The guy who created Barstool Sports, he didn't like the way it was being run. He got some shares together and money up, and Dave Portnoy, he bought the whole thing back. So
listen, sometimes you get a chance to get a do-over. You get a chance to do it. I don't understand why he even sold. I mean, Jesus Christ, he didn't have enough money.
Something to do with casino.
That didn't make sense. I mean, what is? I mean, an NBA franchise is a can't lose proposition now with the TV rights and everything else. I mean, you're going to make your money back. I mean, it's always going to go up in value. I mean, that's the safest investment there is. The only problem with it is the barrier to entry. Rob, I don't have enough money to buy.
Several billion dollars now, quite a few $1 billion. You got anything to plug, buddy?
You know what? You know what? I don't have a particular event. I'll just say, look, the beat goes on, just continuing to work on cases of a number of them, working some wrongful conviction cases, and I'll have some updates in like a month and a half.
Okay.
A little bit premature right now. Just to suffice to say, we're working on exonerating people, and we're continuing our efforts at making the justice system more accurate.
Hey, man, and we got your foundation at the bottom of the screen. Hopefully you can come back around playoff time.
Absolutely. Yes, I absolutely will. Once again, thanks for having me on the Sports Scope. We'll be in touch, and can't wait for my next appearance, Rob.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. All right, everybody. I'll be back here tomorrow. I just got a confirmation. The Mad New Yorker. Appreciate you. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll talk about because Friday's Valentine's. I'm sure he's wanting to go out. I'm going to go work and earn. But you have a good replay there on Friday. But we'll be back tomorrow. Talk about the pretty much the same topics. Get his take. And Carlos has always got some type of abnormal take here. So have a good night, everybody. I'll see you same time, same place here on the Real Sports Scope. Good night, everybody.